Hello everybody and welcome to Argentina. We are back here at the Patagonia racetrack. It's the opening round of the FIM Motocross World Championship. After a winter of testing and a series of pre-season races now, the best riders in the world in MXGP and MX2, they're all fired up. They're ready to get down to business once more. And for the first time in the history of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the opening round of MXGP will kick off right here in Patagonia, Argentina. We're just outside the town of La Villa Angostura, and we are nestled in the northern part of the Nahuel Huapi National Park. Of course, you've seen all the pictures. We're surrounded by beautiful lakes and forests and mountains, and it really is a beautiful part of the world. And it kicks off here this weekend, the first round of the World Championship in the Garden of Patagonia. 19 degrees, so maybe a handful of degrees cooler than it was yesterday. And we did have about 3 or 4 hours of rain in the early hours of the morning, but fear not, this volcanic rock, the volcanic ash that the circuit is built on, has soaked every drop of rain up, and it's just as good as it was yesterday, although they have made 1 or 2 modifications to the track in terms of the waves, and 1 or 2 straights and have been ripped. But if you didn't join us yesterday on MXGPTV.com, here is our brand new look at the GoPro track preview coming up with Paul Jonas of Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Hello everybody and welcome to our GoPro track preview, the first of 2018. This year what we've decided to do is bring you 1 or 2 areas on the track, highlight if you will, 2 key areas of the racetrack that could make a difference in this Argentine Grand Prix here in Patagonia. The ground here is like a volcanic ash, and it's quite firm underneath, but if it's dry, it's really, really powdery. The organizer's doing a great job keeping a lot of water in the track just to firm things up a little bit. Even when we first arrived here this morning, the moisture is coming out through the ground, the steam is coming out through the ground as well. Just gives you some indication as to the kind of conditions that the riders will be having to face here on Sunday. As the riders head out of turn 10, the left-hander behind us, they're already looking towards this next section here, the rhythm section going into turn 11. Steeper than usual on the left-hand side, and as you can see on the right side here, it's a lot lower on the takeoff, which means the riders are only going to be able to double and single into that next right-hand corner. However, with it being a split section and the left-hand side being higher than normal, they have the opportunity to jump from one side of the track to the other. And if you look over there to the landing zone, you can see the yellow track marker. The riders, believe it or not, will be able to see that as they come out of turn 10, and they'll be looking to gauge their speed and their distance, their throttle control, right from that very point down there, where it allows them to get over this and jump and make a more smooth and more efficient jump and landing and sweep through that next right turn. Either way, it's going to be very interesting to see if the riders do this in the race, and if they do, they could be saving quite a lot of time. The corner behind me here is the penultimate turn, and as the riders exit there used to be a small double jump here into the final corner, but as you can see, that's changed. We now have a single jump, which is higher on the left than it is on the right, and what that will do is enable the riders to take off on the right hand side, stay a little bit lower, maybe get into the final corner earlier, square off the corner, charge down the inside, make a pass on the finish line. And if that happens, it could be a really exciting end to a race here in Patagonia. Enjoy. Somebody needs a haircut. I'll get that sorted by Valkenswaard, I promise. But earlier on, Lisa Leyland was down on the grid. She caught up with 2 of the MX2 riders. One of those was the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider, Thomas Covington, of course, riding number 64 and fresh from injury recovery. But Ben Watson and Kamir Yamaha first up.
Hello and welcome to the very first serious moto of the 2018 season, the moment we've all been waiting for. Now I want to grab a quick word with Kamir Yamaha official MX2 team's Ben Watson. Ben, just give us all an update about your winter prep training, about how things went for you.
Yeah, it's been a really good winter. It's been completely different to any winter I've had before, so yeah, a lot of things are new and a lot of things have changed, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, and yeah, apart from a split lip, I had no trouble. So, yeah, yesterday was my best qualifying ever, so but today it matters.
Why do you say the winter was totally different to any other winter you had before? What was changed?
I've just had much more support than previous years, and I have full-time training now with Jackie, and yeah, I've moved over to Belgium. Okay. So, yeah, quite a few big changes, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, it's paying off.
But of course it is paying off. Like you said, yesterday was your best quali result, P3. So I guess that's the boost you need right at the start of the season as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It was unexpected for everybody, actually. All the team were over the moon with my first ride, so yeah, same for me, but it's the first race, and it's, obviously only a qualifying race, and it's a really long season, so I just need to stay focused for the races and, remember it's long.
Have a great first moto. Thanks, Ben. Okay, joining me now we have MX2's Thomas Covington. Just want to get another update on his winter. It's been a pretty tough off-season for you, hasn't it, Thomas? I know you suffered with a knee injury and not many pre-races either. So just tell us, are you feeling perhaps a little bit rusty?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I just think it's been a while since I've been on the gate, so I wasn't able to do the preseason races because I only started riding, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and I just need some time on the bike training. And but yeah, it was nice to get the first race under my belt yesterday and sort of feel everything out, and today should be ready to go for it.
But I mean, if we look back to quali yesterday, P7, I mean, that's not bad considering you haven't had that much bike time.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good way to start. I mean, I felt better in every session yesterday. Just pulled a good start and just rode a little bit stiff yesterday, which is normal after being off of it for so long.
Okay, well, best of luck today. Thanks, Thomas. Good luck to all the guys here. It's time for the first race of the year, MX2 Race 1.
As always, shortly after those pre-grid interviews, then the riders headed out on track for their sighting lap, and track in absolutely fine, perfect condition today, despite the overnight rain. But 2018 season then upon us. We've got a packed house here at Patagonia racetrack here in the Garden of Patagonia, and if you're wondering how 2018 is going to shape up, well, the brand new season looks like this. Here's a quick look at where we will be heading over the course of the next few months in MXGP. We start off here in Patagonia. We have some new tracks on the circuit. Of course, we go back to Russia. We are going to be in a new venue in Indonesia. We are heading back to Turkey and Imola later on. Of course, at the bottom end of the schedule there, the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations at Redbud in the United States of America. So 19 rounds of MXGP plus the big one, the Monster Energy Motocross of Nations at the end of the season. So we've got plenty to look forward to, no doubt about it. Now, if you missed it yesterday, we're going to take you a quick look back to, well, less than 24 hours ago. Here's the MX2 qualifying race highlights. And, well, the defending champion, let's say, just got off to a great start. The gate dropped in MX2's qualifying race towards the mid-afternoon. On board there with Calvin Vilandra, and as he snuck into turn 1 behind Hunter Lawrence, but Adam Sterry went down and reopened up a wound on his little finger on his left hand. But he will be back riding today. But it was Prado who led the way initially. Samuele Bernardini didn't make too bad a start either. He was in around about 10th place on the opening lap on his TM factory machine. Prado led his teammate Paul Jonas, but the Latvian and defending world champion, despite catching a rut on takeoff, found his way past the number 61 and into the lead. Meanwhile, Ben Watson on the Khmer Yamaha muscled his way past the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of Thomas Covington, number 64, to move up into 4th place after about 4th or 5th lap. Had to work for it though, and a couple of corners later it did eventually pay off. An inch-perfect pass here from Hunter Lawrence on his 114 Honda Motorsports machine, and that allowed him to get past Covington, but out of second position. Spectacular get-off and a big crash for Jorge Prado. Banged his right elbow, an injury that he picked up in December last year that kept him off the bike for much of the winter, but he is riding again, and he'll be on grid today. Jonas, though, was in a class of his own. The 41 swapped for the 1, of course, as the defending champion. But Calvin Vilandra was strong in the second half of the moto, despite starting outside of the top 15. He eventually caught and found his way past the number 64 of Thomas Covington. With about 4 laps to go, that pass got him into 6th position. He eventually came home in 5th behind this guy here, number 96, on that Honda 114 Motorsports machine, Hunter Lawrence. Ben Watson An impressive performance from him, coming home in third for a best ever qualifying race result on that Kamiya Yamaha. Second was Thomas Kjær-Olsen. Again, not a bad start. He was always in and around the top 5 in the early stages of the race, but he did get to second at the halfway stage. But it was PJ, Pauls Jonas, who wrapped up the qualifying with his first race win of the year. And so, as a result of that, this is how the riders will go to the line. Pauls Jonas on pole for the first time of asking in 2018. Thomas Kjær-Olsen will go to the line second, ahead of Ben Watson, Hunter Lawrence, Calvin Vilandra, Darian Sinai, Thomas Covington and Alvin Osland. Michele Chervelin, Conrad Muse are next. Then Jed Beaton, David Porchis, Jorgo Geerts, Bas Varsen, Henry Jacobi, Samuele Bernardini. And behind them, Seva Brulikov, Stephen Rubini, Gustavo Souza, Marshall Welton, Ika Laranaga, Javier Vasquez, Luciano Righi, Pablo Julian Sibel, Sergio Villaronga, Nataro Toro, German Bratschke, Jorge Prado will go to the line 28 as a result of not finishing, and Brent Van Donnick on the Ottobiano Husqvarna. He also fell on lap 7, but MX2, race 1, coming up next. Pauls Jonas looking nice and relaxed as he sits behind the steels on the mesh for the first meaningful gate drop of 2018. Quick look there of Brent Van Donnick, the 172, and there's Thomas Kjær-Olsen, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing. Now the track yesterday, since we've been coming here in 2015, because it was a brand new circuit, the ground initially was deemed very, very soft and powdery and fluffy, and so the track crews decided not to rip the track in the early years. And when we came here on Thursday and Friday, it was still very, very firm. But actually, with the rain that they've had, they've ripped the track a lot more in some of the corners and a lot of the straights overnight. So we had 3 or 4 hours of really heavy rain in the early hours of the morning from about 3:30, 4 o'clock. And as you can see now, almost 20 degrees, the blue skies, and a lot of good comments about the condition of the racetrack as we look at Darian Sinai on the bike at DRT Kawasaki. And the conditions now a little bit heavier, a bit more loamy, but talking to Roman Fevre just after his warm-up this morning, said traction levels are probably about the same. It will start to rough up, and it'll be an interesting challenge and a real test as well. So there will still be a high-speed element. They've also taken the tops off the waves after around about, what, turn 7, turn 8, something like that. So these guys getting through that a lot quicker. What can that guy do, though? Calvin Vilandra, the only official HRC entrant. There he is, just to the right of Hunter Lawrence on the Honda 114 Motorsports. Brand new team set up by Livia Lancelo, the 2-time FIM Women's Motocross World Champion. He's had a very strong winter season as well. Some good results in the Italian series. Can he do the same again today? The first gate drop is just around the corner. Well, the first ever heat race winner that we had here in Patagonia back in 2015 was Jeffrey Hurlings on his Red Bull KTM, but the first main event winner was Dylan Ferrandis riding for the Monster Energy Kawasaki squad, and he also won the first ever overall Grand Prix here that same year. Who will add their name to the list of MX2 winners. In 2015 it was Dylan Ferrandis, Jeffrey Hurlings and Pauls Jonas. So 3 years we've been here, 3 different winners in MX2. Will Pauls Jonas be the first 2-time winner in MX2? Of course, we did have a 2-time winner in MXGP. More of that in that broadcast a little later on. But there is Pauls Jonas looking very, very relaxed in that first gate. On the left-hand side, over on the right, you'll see Jorge Prado just climbing onto his Red Bull KTM. But the 15-second border's gone up. We're getting ready to go racing for the first time in 2018. The MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina, here at the Patagonia racetrack, is about to get underway. Ingo Parch, our FIM race director, signals for the 5-second board to be dispatched. Revs up. Gates drop and charging down. It wasn't a great jump for Jonas. He gets squeezed to the inside by Watson and Thomas Kjær-Olsen. It might have been a foxhole shot there for the 96. And we've got people going down in the background there, and it's Hunter Lawrence, I believe, who may have grabbed that foxhole shot the first of 2018, but making light work of him through the long sweeping turn 2. Darian Sinai on the bike at DRT Kawasaki. So it's Sinai who leads, Hunter Lawrence second. And then through the long sweeping turn, Ben Watson in third, gets his way into second position, but for how much longer? They've opened up the waves today, so these guys are going to be pretty rapid through here in the early stages of this race. Watson to the right, challenging Hunter Lawrence. He might nick his way back past the Australian as they go into this right-hander, and he does just that. Jonas just watching behind them. He might pass the pair of them in a moment. Thomas Kjær Olsen in fourth place. And then in fifth position, it actually might be Henry Jacobi on the STC Husqvarna. In fact, it is at 29, and Prado's in there as well, so all the way over from the far side of the gate. Prado gets a very good start indeed, injured elbow or not. But Sinai it is who leads the way. And putting in some distance between Ben Watson, Hunter Lawrence, and the orange KTM there, the number 1, the defending champion of Paul's Jonas. As they make their way back towards the finish area and the start straight to embark on another lap here in Patagonia. Lawrence around the outside of Watson, sneaks into second position. Watson saying on the pre-grid interview with Lisa Leyland a moment ago that he's had the best winter preparation he could ever ask for. Obviously new team, more riding on the bike, a relocation to Belgium. But over the line we go. It's Sinai with about a 1.5 second advantage over Lawrence, Watson, Jonas, Thomas Kjær Olsen, Henry Jacobi, Jorge Prado, Conrad Hughes on the Hitachi Acer KTM. Calvin Vilandra in 9th, and Jed Beaton, the Australian for FNH Racing Kawasaki, is in 10th place. Then we've got Michele Chervelin in 11th position. Jago Hietz is 12th, Davey Poach is 13th. Then Thomas Covington, Seba Briakov, Stephen Rubini, Ika Laranaga, Marshall Welton, and Javier Vasquez. And then Adam Sterry just pops up into the top 20 as well. So Sterry, who didn't do a lap in the qualifying race yesterday, obviously relearning the track again, but look how much quicker the waves are today. And the track absolutely perfect condition once more. Jonas was fast through here yesterday, but he made a mistake there as he tried to ask too much of the rear wheel. Got on the gas a little bit too early. The front got out of the rut there as well, and he almost went down there, did the defending champion. Lawrence disappearing ahead of Watson and Jonas as these two fight for third position. Lawrence tripling nicely from left to right. Just saw the landing there from the Honda 114 Motorsports rider before he picks up this battle here between Watson and Jonas. But watch this, he just goes in and yeah, just a couple of stabs there. He's lucky that Thomas Kjær Olsen wasn't that little bit quicker. Otherwise, the Big Dane would have found a way through and hard on the brakes. Jonas asserting his authority, gets himself into third and puts Watson back to fourth place. So one official full lap complete, and Darian Sinai will go into the books as a lap leader in 2018. The first official full lap then belongs to Darian Sinai on that bike at DRT Kawasaki. Lawrence is now second, Jonas now third, Watson there on that blue Khmer Yamaha is in fourth, Thomas Kjær Olsen there, number 19 in fifth for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, then the STC Husqvarna of Henry Jacobi, who I was talking to this morning, said he's had a pretty trouble-free winter as well. More time on the bike, about a month in Spain down at Red Sand, which incidentally is going to be round 3 of the FIM Motocross World Championship in about 3 weeks' time. Where is Prado? Well, Prado's in 6th place, but look at Hunter Lawrence, who said he's had a great winter prep. Brand new bike for him as well. These engines, no factory support for the Honda 114 Motorsport team, of course, owned and run by Livy Lancelo. And they do have a connection with Geico in the USA, so the engines are coming directly from the US for the new team in MX2. And it's Hunter Lawrence, who is right up there in second position right now. Watch him triple across here. And it's a lot smoother into that turn 11, that long right-hander. And he's got a good tight line drive as well, so absolutely perfect for him. He's going to triple his way through, and he's going to go outside, inside. Whoa, great move there. He closed the door, did the American Sinai on the Australian. These two were about 3.3 seconds clear of Jonas last time around at the end of that first official full lap. But is Lawrence just starting to get impatient here? 3.3 the gap back to third. What is it now? Lawrence was the fastest man on track at 43.825. It's come down to 2.6 seconds, so Jonas closing in. But it's Lawrence who is the fastest rider on track at the moment, but he's struggling to find his way past the 57, who just lost the front end there. Coming out of turn 2, Darian Sinai. Oh, he's just getting squeezed there, and Sinai knows that the Australian is there. He continues to squeeze him, but he does find a way through. Lawrence leads on lap 3. Holds a tighter line on the entry to the waves as well, does Hunter Lawrence. And you can already see just a little bit smoother. Nicely done up on the pegs through that loamy volcanic ash style turn. Lap times here, 1:43.8. Fastest man on track that time around at the end of that second lap is Hunter Lawrence. He leads the American, Darian Sinai, by, well, it was half a second. Let's take a quick look at the start replay as this battle continues at the head of the field. Lawrence now leading Sinai. Jonas, Watson down to fifth now because Thomas Kjær Olsen has moved past the young English rider. Right, replay at the start. Great jump from Hunter Lawrence, but watch Watson, third gate along. He comes across Thomas Kjær Olsen. Thomas Kjær Olsen does the same to Jonas. He gets squeezed tight to the inside, and I tell you what, it was tight, but I think the foxhole shot did belong to Hunter Lawrence. Back with the leaders. 23 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Mx2 Race 1 here, Patagonia, Argentina, and another fastest lap for HL96, a 1:42.777. Lawrence absolutely flying around this Patagonia racetrack. He's got 1.5 seconds over the guy in green there, Darian Sinai. But closing in is the defending champion. Here he is, number 1, Pauls Jonas. He was a 1:43.6 compared to a 44.8 of Sinai, and he is whittling that gap down. He had about a 1.5 seconds advantage as he came over the line just a handful of corners ago, but you can already see that Jonas is closing in, hand over fist, over the young American rider. Thomas Kjær Olsen is in 4th place on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Ben Watson for Khmer Yamaha is 5th. Henry Jacobi, STC Racing Husqvarna, 6th. Jorge Prado is 7th. Calvin Vilandra, Team HRC on that Honda, is in 8th place on that all-new CRF 250. 9th is Jed Beaton on the F&H Kawasaki, and 10th Conrad Muse for Hitachi Acer KTM UK. Up to 11th, Michele Chervelin on the Martin Honda, and then 12th is David Puches on the LRT KTM. Sever Bruyakov is 13th, then Thomas Covington, Jago Kietz, Ika Laranaga. We've lost Adam Sterry from 17th. He's down in 31st place. So I wonder whether he's fallen or if he's just got complications with that injury to his left hand. He wasn't even sure if he was going to ride here, he said, because he was wearing like a little brace on it. He splits the right across the knuckle and on the bend joint. Quite a deep gash that he caught training on a racetrack in Holland on a metal post. And he had stitches, but more of that in a moment. We're going down to pit lane with Lee Sage.
Steve Dixon, Darian Sinai seem to be pretty strong quite soon in the game. Did you expect this kind of performance from him?
Yeah, I mean, Darian likes his track, and we've done, work on the bike to work on the start, so that went well. I mean, yeah, we just need to see how it goes for the rest of the race. I mean, the pace is pretty strong up there at the moment, and this is his first race, so I think the others will be stronger at the moment. We just want to get through this weekend and, get back into Europe, so be good.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
And he continues to lead Pauls Jonas, but he's starting to hold up Pauls Jonas now, and Hunter Lawrence is disappearing off into the distance. He has about 2.3 seconds over the Latvian there. Number 1, the defending world champion, who is still very well placed, though, to pick up some decent points in this first race. Of course, it's a 19-round series, and around the outside to square himself up. No, he doesn't. He stays in the deep loam, but he's looking to set up a pass at the end of the rhythm section here. He hops on, hops off, tight, he'll go to the outside, or will he cut across? Yeah, he closed the door nicely, just like Sinai did on Hunter Lawrence a couple of laps ago. So this will be interesting now, because we've got Hunter Lawrence over the line now with a 1:43.3, and Jonas with a 43.2. That gap 3.4 seconds. Just over 19 minutes plus 2 laps to go, pulls Jonas now up in the second position, having dispatched of the bike at DRT Kawasaki of number 57, Darian Sinai, who, as Steve Dixon, his team owner, team manager, said a moment ago, he really likes his place. In fact, he was 6th overall here last year, wasn't he? The American Darian Sinai, 5th overall, I beg your pardon, but yeah, 2 solid performances in this particular race, with a 6th and a 4th. So no surprise to see him there. Here's Conrad Muse, 4.26 on that Hitachi Acer KTM UK machine, looking to find his way past Jed Beaton. These two fighting over 7th place at the moment. So the number 14, Jed Beaton, who got on the podium at the final round at Villars-sous-Écot last year, when he had that, it wasn't a debut, he was guest riding for HRC at the time. Obviously he's put himself in the shop window, and he's got himself a deal with F&H Kawasaki, the Dutch-based team, and obviously a very strong team as well for a privateer outfit, under the watchful eye and the guidance of Mark de Ruver. His teammate Adam Sterry. Oh, Sterry's it's a transponder issue with Sterry, because he's now showing us 15th. So apologies to the family at home. So no issues then with the Welshman. 18 minutes to go. Conrad Muse looking a bit more relaxed than he did yesterday. Free practice was okay, time practice was okay, but when it came to the qualifying race, just a little bit tight was that guy there in orange, 4.26, Conrad Muse, of course, former double FIM 85cc junior world champ and European champ. 46, Davy Puches, just a couple of positions further back, coming under attack. I think Covington has found his way past him, hasn't he? Yeah, Covington 11th. It's Laranaga that has gone through in 12th. Puches now in 13th. Jago Kietz on the 193 on the Khmer Yamaha. He is now in 14th. Sterry now up in the 15th. He's just found his way past the Silver Action KTM of Stephen Rubini. Samuel Abini down in 17th. Vasson 18th. Marshall Welton is 19th. And the other American there, riding number 56 on the Jumbo No Fear Vamo Honda, just inside the points, ahead of Brent Van Donnick on the Ottaviano Husqvarna. There is Laranaga, 66 on the Monster Energy jump now, coming into land, the second rider in shot, as he goes after this guy, 64, Thomas Covington. The American who destroyed his knee at Matchley Basin at the Motocross Nations. Wasn't even a real big crash or heavy impact. It was just one of those wrong place, wrong time kind of moments. But Sinai under pressure from TKO. Thomas Kjær Olsen, the MX250 European champion 2 years ago. Got some nice lines. Look, oh, he gets on the gas beautifully, but he'll try to... Oh, he's going to go wide here. Surprising. Thought that out to inside would work a little bit better, but Covington's teammate, Thomas Kjær Olsen, not able to execute a pass or orchestrate a pass through that final turn. Fantastic ride, though, for Darian Sinai, number 57. Thomas Kjær Olsen, one side of the track to the other. Scrubs neatly over that third and final jump, and he's got a great line through here, through turn, 3? Turn 4, really, because turn 2 and 3 is double apex. Oh, he's got to be careful not to get too close to the inside there, because a bit of a neutral, and he could take out Sinai, but everybody cleanly through that part of the racetrack. These guys pushing, 43s, 44s? In terms of lap time, and 43.9 for Hunter Lawrence last time around. I think he might just nudge his way up the inside here. No. It's actually quite steep going up into there, and it drops away very steep on the way down as well. Riders need to avoid contact through there if they can. Right, what's Sanai doing through this next section compared to TKO? Well, they're going for that single-double option. Whoa, tries to push him wide. Sanai is going to go outside, inside through this next combination. Oh, he does. He switches it inside, inside. So last-minute change of plan there for the 57. This time, Kier Olsen thought the better of going for the wide sweep, trying to keep locked to the rear wheel of that bike at DRT Kawasaki. Ben Popplewell there with the board urging on the 57 of Sanai as he looks to hang on to that third position. Jonas now about 4.2 seconds clear of these two battling over third. Hunter Lawrence about 2.5, 2.6 seconds clear of Pauls Jonas. 43.3, 43.5 for the lap for the leaders respectively of Hunter Lawrence and Pauls Jonas. Right, is Thomas Kier Olsen closer this time to move up the inside? Needs to keep the wheels on the ground. He goes from the inside to the middle. Gets locked to the inside through here as well as they enter this wave section. It was gnarly through there yesterday. Great job though. Good defensive job of 57 tonight. Making Thomas Kier Olsen go the long way round. He might just have executed. He's going to have to go long here. No, gets it squeezed again. Frustration under the helmet of Thomas Kier Olsen, looking to scrub and save as much airtime as possible. You can see he's hanging off the bike, getting a little bit wild at the moment. Just desperate to find a way through. Same line, same time around the outside. Sanai gets him pushed wide again. I think at the end of this straight, we're going to see a pass, yes. Perfectly done there this time for Thomas Kier Olsen. Will he defend? Yes, he does. So Thomas Kier Olsen now up into third on lap 9. Here's Jonas, nudging aside. One of the back markers there, Lutero Toro. Ooh, he's got that gap down. Well, you can see him as well. You can see that bright yellow flash of shift clothing from Hunter Lawrence just ahead of him. 1.8 seconds clear now. There he is, just going out of shot. Well, all of a sudden, Jonas has got a bit of a spurt on here. 43.5 compared to a 44.3. And that gap, just less than 2 seconds. He can even smell Lawrence's deodorant. It might actually be the aftersun after he got burnt out on the lake the other day. But Jonas, head down, looking smooth. Hasn't been the perfect prep in terms of he hasn't been dominating everything in the off-season, but he is right where he needs to be, where it matters, at the sharp end of Mx2 Race 1. He's there in second. It's 25 points for a win, 22 for second, 20 for third, 18, 16, 15, 14, single digits right the way down to 20th, where you score a single World Championship point. In the event of a tie, of course, if these two finish like this in race 1 and reverse the positions in race 2, the overall winner goes on the strongest result between those two riders in a tie in the second moto. But Lawrence, wonder if he's just ran into a little bit of backmarker trouble, which is why he's been caught here. We'll see on the lap times again, 43.57, 43.7, so just over 2 seconds. So it might have just been that he got caught by a backmarker. Oh, the back end, that's not going to help either. Way offline going into turn 2. Going to have to keep his composure. So Lawrence, who was dogged by injury a little bit last year, of course. But he did put in a solid performance at the final round. 4th and a 1st. He took his first ever moto win at Villars-sous-Écot with the final round in the mud. Finished 9th in the championship, got him 2nd overall, and that was for the 3rd time on the podium. Oh, Sanai's out. Sanai has a problem. He was in 6th position. So at the end of lap 10 then, Darian Sanai Heartbreak for the American. But back with the leaders, that's not 2.082 seconds anymore. Hunter Lawrence has been caught once again by Paul Jonas, the defending champ on that Red Bull KTM. And the gap is right there, what, about half a second, 3/4 of a second, something like that. And with 9.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go, this one, well, it's either going to go down to the wire, there might be a little bit of argy-bargy and some fisticuffs between these two. But a great lap 11 for Paul Jonas, and Morgan Liciardo is in as well. Just over 9 minutes plus 2 laps to go. 11 laps in the bag for these two, our race leaders. That gap just over a second by about 7/100ths of a second. 44.8, 43.8, a full second pulled back there from Paul Jonas, and we saw the disappointed look on the face of the American Darian Sinai there briefly before we cut back to the leaders here. Thomas Kjær-Olsen 8 seconds behind this duo. Great inside line from Jonas. He made it look so easy. Right, Jonas now will try to get his head down and disappear. Hunter Lawrence will hopefully try to make it difficult. Back markers on the horizon. Will it favour one or the other? Well, I'll tell you what, Jonas got by there very, very rapidly. I think they went by either side, didn't they? This is down to to Hunter Lawrence to try and learn as much as he can from the defending champ. Find out where the lines are better, where he's more efficient, where he's more efficient himself even. Dropping down into turn 10. Jonas goes to the inside. Oh, he got a bit of a kick there. I'm not sure if he was there. And there's Lawrence tripling in. So that works for him. And then he should be able to hold a tight line through this next long ride. Look how the ground is chopping up there. This volcanic rock, very edgy when you get down to the base. Kjær-Olsen still third. Ben Watson still fourth. Tell you what an outstanding ride for Henry Jacobi, riding number 29 on that STC Racing Husqvarna. This was a mistake earlier. Oh, look at that. That cost him a lot of time, Hunter Lawrence, a lap ago. And then this was the pass. Immediately afterwards, Jonas held a nice tight turn, kept the wheels on the ground, went straight for the jugular, and then defended the inside into turn 5. So Jonas leads then. He's just set the fastest second sector of the race a lap ago. Just a moment ago, sorry. Lawrence is still hanging in there. That gap just about a second. There's Thomas Kjær-Olsen right in the background, top of the screen, just a flash of him on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Great start to the year for him. Thomas Covington, Thomas Kjær-Olsen, 2 fourths in Qatar last year for the big Great Dane. Here's Watson. He's in 4th place. He's got a comfortable advantage, about 11 seconds over Henry Jacobi. So the Khmer Yamaha rider. If you joined us at the top of the programme when he had that pre-grid interview with Lisa Lane, he said everything went to plan apart from a split lip. Basically what he did, he over-jumped and rattled his helmet right on the crossbar. Busted his lip, knocked a couple of teeth out, had to go for emergency dental treatment. Damaged roots and nerves and that kind of thing, but it's obviously not slowing him down. Right, here is the number 29, Henry Jacobi on that STC Racing Husqvarna. Fantastic ride for the young German at the moment. He's got Conrad Muse bearing down on him as well, though, 4:26. So we've got a lot of the young guns that are coming into play now that have moved up through the ranks through EMX 250. Of course, Jacobi, one of those, but he had a good full season in MX2 last year. Finished 20th in the championship. Did the German. Didn't do the first 4 flyaway rounds, but he's here. So his team committing to Argentina in 2018. Got an 8th in the first race in Germany. And that was his best race result of the whole entire year. So already improving on that. Anything 8th or above will either equal or best his best performance. 13th overall was his best Grand Prix of the year in Portugal as well. So looking good at the moment for Jacobi and STC Racing Husqvarna, riding number 29. But look at the guys charging down on him. 4:26, Conrad Muse and Jed Beaton. Beaton, number 14 on that F&H Kawasaki. So these three absolutely locked together. 5th, 6th and 7th. Nothing between them, look. Jacobi, Muse, beaten. There's a slight gap back to Michele Chervelin on the Honda Martin machine, right in the 747, and right behind him, Severo Brilyakov on the second of the Khmer Yamahas. And then Thomas Covington about 4 seconds, 3 seconds further back for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Quite aptly then cut back to Conrad Muse as the time hit 4:26. There is Muse. 85cc European and Junior 85cc World Champion. Before making the switch to 125 European Championship. Didn't really happen for him when he moved up to the bigger bikes in terms of European Championship. But I tell you what, he's put in a very, very solid start. And he does look a lot more relaxed than he did in the qualifying race. There's the gap between this guy here, Pauls Jonas, and Hunter Lawrence. About 2.7 seconds now. Back marker in and amongst that lot. Jonas looking very solid, very assured. Won the qualifying race here last year, went 1-1, stood on the top step of the podium. Didn't regain the red plate though until we got back to Italy, Trentino, because he lost it in Indonesia for 3 rounds actually. Then led the championship from round 5 right the way to the season finale, Villars-Suzerain. Here's Hunter Lawrence. Honda 114 Motorsports, riding number 96. Nicely done, got a very tidy style as the young Australian. Up and over the iPhone. It's a beautiful jump there, the takeoff a lot lower than the landing area. He's decided not to triple into there now. Maybe it's just getting a little bit edgy on the landing where guys are double single and just flipping off the end. Penultimate corner, number 96, Hunter Lawrence. Hits the finish line now, and 15 laps in the bag for him and Pauls Jonas. Jonas a 45.1, so Lawrence losing another 0.6 or thereabouts. That's the gap. There's Jonas disappearing out of the second turn. And there's Lawrence. Here's a back marker. That's the 161 of Alvin Osland, that looked like. So Alvin Osland in 23rd place, just looking on our timing screen. Osland moving across from one Yamaha team to the other. Last year he was Khmer Yamaha mounted. Of course, now he's at the Yamaha SM Action MC Migliori team. Oh, there's number 19, Thomas Kjær Olsen going through. Hanging on to a comfortable third. 7 seconds behind Lawrence, 7 seconds ahead of Watson. And for Ben Watson, well, this is looking pretty good for the young Brit, the young Englishman. Just this will be his best ever race result, no doubt about it. A minute to go, plus 2 laps though, in MX2 Race 1. Thomas Kjær Olsen then heading towards the Monster Energy finish line jump. It'll be 3 laps from now because it's not going to take the leaders 40 odd seconds to get from there to the finish. In fact, over the line, right on cue, 16 laps gone, is Pauls Jonas. He's now 2.5 seconds clear of Hunter Lawrence. Battles a little bit further down here. Well, a bit of leg swag there. We're a bit further back. It's like the 18 of Severo Brilyakov. Burying that Yamaha, that Khmer Yamaha, deep into the loamy berm. giving chase to Michele Cervelin in black on that Martin Honda Racing machine. The young Italian looking to go wide and cut back to the inside at turn 1. And these two fighting over 8th place. And they're still not that far behind. We saw the flash of green on the Kawasaki of Jed Beaton just ahead of them. You'll see that there, look, as he goes over the middle jump of 3. So Jonas leads. He's got 2.5 seconds over Lawrence. Lawrence was quicker by about a second that time around as well. So that gap's starting to come back in favour of Hunter Lawrence. So Jonas here can't afford to relax. Thomas Geir-Olsen 8 seconds further back in 3rd. Watson about 8 seconds adrift of the Dane in 4th. And we've got Jacobi in 5th. Muse 6th. Beaton 7th. We saw Cervelin battling with Bruikov for 8th. And Thomas Covington now in 10th position. Ika Larinaga in 11th. Iago Hietz is 12th. 13th for Adam Sterry. 14th Vassen on the second of the Honda 114 Motorsport machines. 2-lap board goes out now to Paul Jonas. Back marker in between. Ryan Deckert there, just not frustrated, but just continuing to urge his man on. 2.8 seconds, so he did nick another 3/10 or thereabouts over Lawrence that time around. I think Jed Beaton might have made a mistake because our timing is showing him down to 11th at the moment. We're still waiting for Jacobi to come over the line in 5th place. So maybe Jed Beaton has had a slight mishap because he's losing positions still. No, it was a timing glitch. So Jed Beaton just suffering the dreaded timing, the transponder glitch. Still circulating in 7th place. So Cervelin in 8th, Bruikov 9, Covington 10, Larinaga 11, Hietz 12. I'm sure Sterry is still in 13th. Yes, he is. 14th, Vassen, then Bernardini, and the rest of the guys. But is Lawrence doing anything about Jonas at this moment in time? The first split, yes, there's a bit of a gain there. So again, Jonas can't afford to relax. Here is that battle for 5th place. Jacobi just here, number 29 on that STC Racing Husqvarna. Get himself a little bit of airtime here. And rightly so. Conrad Muse still hasn't been able to find a way through in orange on that Hitachi Acer KTM UK machine. Quick pull of the tear off there. And the dirt here, even though it's a little bit damp in places, it just bounces off the goggles. So guys can utilise the tear-offs a lot more than they would if it was a freshly watered track. So we had like 3-4 hours of heavy rain in the early hours of this morning from about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and you wouldn't have thought it, would you? It's a beautiful picturesque circuit, the Patagonia racetrack just outside of Villa La Angostura. It's about 10k away from here. A proper touristy type town, lots of mountain biking facilities area and lakes, mountains, all the rest of it. Ski here in the winter months. Of course, we're still here at the back end of summer, and it's probably about 10 or 12 degrees warmer than we would normally have when we come here, because we're about 3 weeks ahead of schedule, 4 weeks ahead of schedule in previous years. Jonas showing us how cool he was. We saw that cool, calm head in France last year, race 1, when he clinched the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. He crashed going into turn 2, and rather than panic and pick himself up, he just picked himself up, got on his bike, took the cloth out of the side of his race pants, wiped his hands down, made sure his goggles and everything was all intact, coolly pressed the button on the left-hand side, get the bike, or the right side, to fire up that KTM, and eased his way into 5th position by the checker flag to claim the world title. And here he is now, rounding out the final turn. And Paul Jonas wins MX2 Race 1 here in Patagonia by just over a second, well, 1.9 seconds over Hunter Lawrence. He'll be pleased with that, so too will Olivia Lancelot. And 3rd will be Thomas Geir-Olsen. Paul Jonas makes his way to the winner's circle. I'm sure we'll grab a quick word with our Race 1 winner. in just a moment. Picked up 14 race wins last year. Is that the first of many in 2018? Well, in that kind of form, yes, but tell you what, that Honda 114 machine of Hunter Lawrence is not too far off the pace, is it? Anyway, let's go down to the winning circle. Here is Lisa with Pauls Jonas.
Pauls Jonas, good job. First moto win of the 2018 season. Hunter, didn't make it easy for you, and you really couldn't afford to relax out there.
Yeah, no, this was sorry. It was a really good race. I got not so good jump on the gate, but turned tight in the first corner and then went wide in the next one. And you know, I don't know which place I came out, but quickly got into third position. And then I saw Hunter in front. I saw how far he is, so I felt really good, you know. And I just controlled him a little bit. And then when I made pass for the second place, I tried to catch him, and then you know, he made a few mistakes, and then I managed to pass him. And but you know, big thanks to Red Bull KTM Factory Racing team, and now we're gonna go relax and get ready for the second tomorrow.
Good luck. Thank you.
Great start then for Pauls Jonas in his defence of the FIM MX2 World title that he picked up at the final round of 2017. He won the qualifying race yesterday. He was fastest in free practice and time training, and he's picking up a race win and 25 points here in MX2 Race 1. Fans under the trees then trying to take a little bit of shade. It is still pretty warm out there, but here are the official results from MX2 Race 1. Red Bull KTM's Pauls Jonas wins from the Honda 114 Motorsports of Hunter Lawrence, the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of Thomas Kjær-Olsen, and the Khmer Yamaha of Ben Watson. The STC Husqvarna of Jacobi, great ride for him in 5th. Likewise for Conrad Muse in 6th on the Hitachi Acer KTM UK. Jed Beaton for F&H Kawasaki was 7th, and Michele Chervelin for the Martin Honda Racing Team in 8th. Seba Bryakov was 9, and Thomas Covington 10. Ika Larinaga on the Ottaviano Motorsports Husqvarna was 11. Then Jago Kietz, Adam Sterry, Bas Varsen, Samuele Bernardini for TM, Jorge Prado down in 16th. Then Silver Actions KTM of Stephen Rubini was 17. Calvin Vilandra for Team HRC 18th as well. So a couple of disappointments in there. 19th for David Puches on the LRT KTM, and Brent Van Donnick came home with the final point in MX2 Race 1.
Muchas gracias, Luis Correa. Brevísima pausa. Ya volvemos con la primera manga de MXGP.
All right, let's take a quick look at MX2 race highlights from that first race. And it was a flying start, wasn't it, for Hunter Lawrence? Gate dropped over on the far side to the right there. Jonas didn't get a good jump. He got squeezed by Thomas Kjær-Olsen and Ben Watson, but in yellow with a lot of space was Hunter Lawrence, who picks up the first foxhole shot of 2018. Darren Sinai was right there in second position. Watson was third. Thomas Kjær-Olsen was fourth. Jacobi was in there alongside Jonas as they duked it out. So not the best start for the defending champ, but he started to make light work of everybody. First man on the list was Ben Watson. Once he got into that great position. That was the move up the inside. That got him into third. Pauls Jonas. Watson then circulated in fourth. Then Hunter Lawrence down the inside. Made the pass on Darren Sinai. The Australian then led and started to open up a gap. Then it wasn't long before Jonas went through. Got himself into second. And then Thomas Kjær-Olsen found a way past the American eventually, probably what, the third or fourth time of trying. That put him through into third on lap 9. Thomas Kjær-Olsen, though, already had a bit of a mountain to climb, but Lawrence is out front. The lap time started to come down, wasn't helped by one or two little mistakes like that. And just a handful of corners later, even less than that, Jonas held a nice tight line, ran it at the inside of the Honda of Lawrence, and in the blink of an eye, the defending champ was through. Jakov was a little bit further down the order, but he came home in a respectable 9th position. But it was Paul Jonas, though, who crossed the line victorious in MX2 Race 1 by just over a second from Hunter Lawrence, Thomas Kjær-Olsen, Ben Watson and Henry Jacobi. Well, we just saw the MX2 race highlights, and right at the top of it was the Fox hole shot, and that is coming up next. And we believe it was Hunter Lawrence, and here's the proof, by about a bike length. So congratulations to Hunter Lawrence, picking up the first black plate of 2018. See down there the MXGP riders just limbering up. Kevin Strybos on the standing construct KTM, and Ivan Monticelli on the iFly JK Racing Yamaha. And the fans just keeping their seats, getting ready for the Premier class to launch out of the gates for their first race. But let's take a look at some of the best moments then from MX2 Race 1. So some of the best moments then from MX2 Race 1. Right, we're off for a couple of minutes. Join us when we return for MXGP Race 1. We'll see you then.